Hello and welcome. This is EDC with Oaken and Kane. I am Oaken. And I am Kane. Oh, spooky shit. Halloween. Boo. Ghosts. Anyway. Alright, guys. So, enough pandering for the holidays. I know you guys do enjoy the throwaway gags. I actually don't think you do, but I do. So... what do we have here today? So we have a review of this beautiful slip joint here. This is the Lionsteel Thrill. And before we get into that, we've got some pretty great news, guys. So, if you are looking to get a new knife, head on over to southernedgeknifeworks.com. And at checkout, type in EDCOK, and you will get 15% off plus $5 flat rate shipping. That's right, somebody was crazy enough to give us a coupon code. So, woohoo! But yeah, if you're looking to get something, head on over there. That is southernedgeknifeworks.com, and it is EDCOK at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your purchase. Back to the task at hand, guys. So what do we have right here? This is the Lionsteel Thrill, which is a slip joint. I believe this came out last year, 2019, but picked this up a little while ago, and there's a lot to love here. That is absolutely for sure. So let's break down some of the specs real quick, get that out of the way. So it is an overall length of 7 inches, a blade length of 3 inches, a handle thickness of 0.50 inches, handle length of 4 inches, stock thickness at 0.13 inches, and weight of 2.35 ounces on their site, but we are going to get our scale out and weigh it here on camera. .38, so a little above. Yeah, 2.38 ounces. So a little above that, but still very lightweight. Very, very lightweight, thanks to the aluminum there. So let's go ahead. Oh, and also, country of origin on this is Italy. Let's get some buddies out here and do some size comparisons. We'll start off with some slip joints. We've got the Great Eastern Cutlery 78, which is the bullnose, I believe. We've got the Three Rivers Manufacturing Viator. Another really interesting slip joint that I really do like. We've got the Civivi. What the heck is this called? Fracture. There we are. The Civivi Fracture. Came a little late, but it came. And we'll do some of the normal guys out here. The Para 3 Lightweight and PM2. And the Delica sandwich here. Delica. Might do a blade swap on these guys. If y'all want to see that, I'd be willing to do that on camera, as well as let me know if you guys, think that would look nice. This Damascus blade here with the foliage green G10 Delica. And we'll go ahead and just do one more. The Malibu and the Smock. So, let's talk a little bit more about this blade here. So, it is M390. Nice crowned spine, which I really do like. I think that looks good. I also like this kind of more of a French pull sort of style nick rather than a standard nail nick. But, this is something that, you could pretty easily just grab the blade out, as well as one-handed can get it out relatively easily as well. But that is a flat grind, satin finish, drop point blade. Could be thinner behind the edge, but not terrible. Personally, I, on a slip joint, would want this to not only be a thinner blade stock, but also, yeah, a little bit of a thinner grind. And, yes. Now we're going to get into the handle, which is really where things get interesting to me. So that is a integral handle there. So this is all one piece of aluminum where they milled out these two lines here as well as internally. Now this clip, which we'll get into momentarily, is not necessarily integral to it, so to speak. That does come on and off, but yes, the handle itself is integral. Let's see if you can see in there. Yeah, very interesting milling in there to be able to function well as a back spring, but also still have some strength and rigidity. As well as, if you notice, they add a little piece of steel there to work as an interface, because M390 versus aluminum will definitely yield in just, you know, loosening up the lockup on this guy pretty easily. So I like that they put a little bit of a steel interface in there to help with that. Next, so it is aluminum, but there is a titanium variant. I believe the titanium variant is a little more expensive. I believe those are around 200, whereas this is around 120. We'll talk more about that later. But yes, so there is a couple different color options. You can get red, orange, green. I think it's red, orange, green, and black for the aluminum, and then for the titanium, you can get kind of a goldish color, a bluish color, and a titanium gray. So this is a slip joint. No lock on this guy. Does have a nice half stop and pretty decent walk and talk. Now, it doesn't have super tight of a pull. I would say the pull on this is really similar to the Civivi Fracture, something that's definitely, you know, a little bit easier one-handed than the Fracture, but still relatively easy pull, which also does translate to kind of unlocks a little easily. But as long as you have your thumb back here and really are, you know, treating it like a damn slip joint, it's going to be fine in those regards, but is a relatively light pull. So ergos, to me, for having so much millwork on this guy, all these little lines here, all these lines here, all this, I guess, fluting, if you will, it still is a pretty slick knife, you know. Little bit kind of texture, but really still comes off as pretty slick. So I mean, I'd kind of prefer just a hair more texture on it, but that's, you know, not a huge complaint. The rest of the ergos are pretty solid because it is relatively thin and pretty simple. Nothing too obtrusive, no finger grooves or anything to kind of, you know, yield to a particular hand size. So ergos are not too bad at all. Next, clip and hardware. This is where things definitely get a little more interesting as well. So if you notice this lovely little lion here, I'll bring it up to a little lion there for Lionsteel, I presume, or for Gryffindor, not too sure. Anyway, but so it is their interesting little clip that recesses into the handle completely. So very interesting. I think they call it HWAYL, hate what annoys you. I don't know what the L stands for in that. Once again, it's good to prepare before videos, but anyway, this is what you get. But I definitely like the concept of it. I think obviously when you're playing with, you know, trying to design something that is going to have a clip on it, that always can provide some hot spots, or, you know, something that might be comfortable in hand but not comfortable in use. So I really do love that the idea of this. I think it's a great idea. The only thing is I wish you had a little more room, a little more room on this side, so that when putting it in the pocket, you had a little more to kind of clip on in that side and sort of grip on. So that would be ideal, but I know that to a certain extent this design doesn't necessarily yield for that, but to me, if they were going to plan to put that in, I would have liked just a tad bit more real estate back there. Now let's see how this looks in the pocket. So let's pop it up. A little help from our other pocket simulator. This is a pocket. So for the most part, you know, it's not the deepest of carries, but not too terribly bad. You know, I don't mind it, and especially with the way that the clip is designed, you kind of need that little bit of extra space, so I don't mind that. But something to keep in mind when you are putting it in the pocket, if you know, and this is kind of thick cardboard, not a real pocket, but anyway, it will kind of stop right there. And so you really do have to have it pushed all the way up to really be able to utilize the entire space there. This brings us to my next complaint. So that is pretty thin, as you guys can see, and it is aluminum. So although you don't have a large amount of ramp coming up here, it is still something that if it does get caught, that is just done. You know, that is very unlikely for you'd be able to bend that aluminum back in shape. And of course, Lionsteel, I'm sure, would take care of you in some capacity, but yeah, would leave you with a clipless knife for a little bit. And a clipless, you know, this with the clip missing is a bit different compared to something else with the clip just kind of taken off. So definitely a little bit of a downside there, but you know, luckily haven't had it catch on anything. And then of course also with how much it comes up, not as great for thicker pockets. So keep that in mind, especially if you wear cardboard pants. You're definitely going to want to keep that in mind. So it being, what was that, 2.38, 2.39 ounces, and being, you know, pretty simple in the, you know, pocket here, carries really, really nice. Like I said, just as long as your pants pocket is not too thick brimmed, if that makes sense, but you get what I'm saying. So design and execution to me is really, really, really nice, because, and I'm going to go ahead and put value into this as well, because you are getting a integral knife with M390 steel for $120. And not only do I think that is just such a great value, but I also think it is done pretty well. You know, there is a lot that I think is interesting about this, as well as everybody I've shown this to. You know, knife and non-knife guys have had sort of an appreciation for it, and I can see why. There is quite a bit to love here, even though ideally I would love it ground just a tad bit thinner. Something more akin to the Viator here, the real thin blade stock. Look at that difference there. So that would be more ideal to me, but it still is not too terrible of a slicer. But yeah, definitely could be a little bit better. And then yeah, I wouldn't have minded just a hair deeper fluting to give you a tad bit more traction with this knife. So, final thoughts. Guys, I would certainly say scoop this one up. This is something that I really, really do think is packs quite a bit of innovation into this knife, even though might not be the best model to have the that little clip system on. Maybe something like the Lionsteel Rock ROK might be something to check out. Something that we might be trying to get on the channel sometime soon. We'll see. Well, you'll see. But yeah, I really do like this. Sadly, I am selling this knife pretty much after this video. A family member of mine really likes it, so it is gonna be on its way to him. But thanks for stopping by and checking this out with me. And remember, guys, you can go to southernedgeknifeworks.com, type in coupon code EDCOK for 15% off your purchase and $5 flat rate shipping. So guys, thanks for stopping by the garage, but it's time to go. Have a good one.